Hello, YouTubers. I want to welcome you to another edition of Park and Pin Gear. And in this episode, we're going to focus on a pedal. In fact, a multi-effects pedal. Now, usually a pedal, a decent pedal, will average anywhere from $40 to upwards of $200, sometimes more than that, depending on its capabilities and things. Okay, now, when you're talking about pedals, you want pedals for certain sounds, delays, reverbs, and those kinds of things. And there are lots of pedals on the markets doing a lot of different sounds. And usually, on a pedal board, you don't have all that much space, right? So then comes the multi-effects pedal. And some of the best ones, basically it's one pedal, but it can do 100 plus different sounds. Okay? Now there's the Eventide H9, which is a great pedal, sounds really great. But it's quite expensive. I think it's like $400 some or something like that. And there's nothing wrong with that pedal, it's really nice. However, it's quite expensive. Okay. Now, a multi-effects pedal, if it has 100 plus different sounds, it's the kind of multi-effects pedal that you can't play those 100 plus sounds at once. In fact, you can only choose one. Now, there's some advantages and disadvantages. Of course, when you can only choose one out of the 100, right? It actually is pretty nice because the sound is a quality sound. It's not just a, generic sound, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. But usually the advantage is it has MIDI, musical instrument digital interface. Okay? Allowing you to control with a foot switch or a MIDI controller, choosing presets, if you like. And each preset can have one of these different sounds. So one preset could be a delay, the next preset could be a distortion pedal, those kinds of things. And if you're not prepared to pay what an Eventide H9 costs, there is an alternative. And basically, I really look at it as the poor man's H9. And that is the Line 6 M5 pedal. Okay? The reason is it has 100 plus different sounds, and they're pretty good quality sounds. I wouldn't say they're quite as good as the H9, Eventide H9, but very, very close. In fact, usually my pedal boards, I use both. And the M5 does some things really, really well. And it has MIDI, right? And best of all, it's new, about well, it was $150, and I guess with inflation, $169. Okay, for a new one. And you can pick up used ones, but I tell you what, if you do, be very, very careful, because there's some things, some issues that are known issues. So if you have the opportunity and the finances to buy a new one, I would recommend that over a used one. Now, there's some pros and cons, and we'll go through those about the Line 6 M5. Okay, one is definitely its size. It's huge, big pedal. You know, yeah, pretty gigantic. Compared to other pedals. You know, I suppose if you put 2 or maybe even 3 pedals together, it would make about the size of the Line 6 M5. However, keep in mind, it's like having 100 pedals, right, in one unit. Now, it has MIDI, and usually when a pedal has MIDI, in theory, it should have 128 presets, right, which is what MIDI allows, basically. But in this case, that is not true. Okay, you actually only have 24. Okay, keep that in mind. You only have 24 presets that you can recall via MIDI. Okay, and each one of the 24 can be a totally different sound. In other words, you could have one preset be a tremolo, the next one be a delay, the next preset be a distortion pedal, the next one be a compressor, all kinds of stuff. I have been using the Line 6 M5 for years, really, and did not realize how essential, really, it is to my sound, because it does certain things really, really well. And we'll get into that with audio examples and things. However, I had an issue with probably the oldest Line 6 M5 that I owned, and I probably purchased it used on top of that, right? So I've had it for a few years anyway, and it started not powering up correctly, right? I said, well, this won't do at all. So I went ahead and ordered a replacement, brand new, via the power of Easy Pay, 3 payments, right? So I went ahead and did that, and it's arrived. Now, we're going to have an unboxing here. However, it's going to have to be a recreation of an unboxing, because I'd already opened it. Sorry. So, let's do that. Okay, now, it came in a shipping box, which, well, I've discarded it. But basically, here it is. Wow, look at the size of that box for one pedal. Are you kidding me? Look at that. And it says Line 6 M5, 100 plus effects in a single stop box. Wow. See that? Wow. Okay. So let's open this up. And before I do that, I should say there's several reasons why I got a new one. One, I wanted an additional one, you know, in case hopefully I could fix the old pedal. Not sure. And because I definitely needed it for my pedal board, the small pedal board. You know, it has a Eventide H9, but it also has a Line 6 M5. Okay. And we have a little box for an AC adapter, which is included. And this pedal requires quite a bit of power. And you can see that when it powers on, it's really something. But it also can cause issues, as a result. I mean, this looks like, here's the actual pedal. I mean, that's a big boy. That's, wow. Pretty heavy duty. It's all metal, pretty heavy too. Okay, right here, line 6 and 5. And you'll notice here it's got 2 silver foot switches. Okay, then you've got 6 knobs here. Okay, and the very first one, right here, is the most important one, really. Because the rest are just to change parameters of each effect. In other words, if you have a delay, you can turn one of the knobs and, choose how long you want the delay to be and so on. But this one right here allows you to save presets and also change what kind of effect you're looking for. And in this particular one, it also has an LCD display right here. And when you hit this button, it's kind of a push knob, basically. Right, you can hear it. And each time you do that, it will change to a bank of effects that are grouped together. In other words, if you want a certain kind of delay, you would hit this button and the screen would turn green, and then you can turn that button, right, turn knob, and choose what kind of delay you want, right? Hit it again, and let's say you want a reverb, then the screen turns orange, and so on and so on. Okay? The problem is that these knobs can wear out really easily. Anyway, so there you go. There's the line 6 and 5. And so I had a problem with my old one, right? Okay, now the issue that I encountered on the old pedal was all of a sudden it wouldn't power up correctly. We can take a look at that there. Alright, now here's a small board. As you can see, it has a Aventide H9, and right next to it there's the line 6 and 5. Now notice the LCD screen is green here, right? There we go. I don't know if you can see it, but there's writing and things like that on it. Now when I was having a problem, I would turn it on and the screen would go green, but no text. And these buttons didn't work either. The on-off, and no audio as well. Okay, that was the problem I was having. But as it turns out, it's starting to look like the real problem is that right here on the side, and it's kind of hard to see, especially with that light. Well, let me see if I can get it better. Yeah. Okay, on the light, there's 2 MIDI jacks on the side of the M5, and there was a screw, and it was loose, and so I tightened it down, and since then I've had no problems. I put the old one back on. Very interesting. Okay, and one thing with the line 6 M5, once you get the hang of it, it's really easy to go through the sounds and things. But especially if you're using MIDI and things, it really pays to look at the manuals. And you get a manual that comes with it here. Okay. And also, you can also get this series of manuals online, and I definitely urge that because there are 3 different manuals Okay, and one is the pilot's manual, which is basically how to use the pedal, how to, there's a setup section, you know, where you can do everything from changing the LCD contrast of the little LCD panel, to doing a MIDI dump to save all your presets and those kinds of things. Then it has a second manual, which basically goes through and tells you what each sound, or I should say, what each pedal is trying to emulate. So in other words, if I choose a delay, right, and I look in the manual, it'll show me what kind of delay and what pedal it's trying to emulate. What kind of delay pedal, for example. Okay, kind of interesting. Then it has a third manual, which basically describes the effect parameters and what they do, basically. So definitely worth looking at. All right, now let's take a listen to the pedal. All right, now I've got the Line 6 M5 hooked up here, and here's one of the main sounds, one of the main uses for me for the Line 6 M5, and that's the bass emulation. And without the M5, it kind of sounds like this. Well, that sounds just like a guitar. But with the Line 6 M5 engaged, you get this. Okay, and that works really well with looping stuff. I mean, if I just do a small loop here, let's say, so we'll just loop that. You'll see it when you add the bass. That's totally MIDI controlled, so I'm just using the little MIDI controller on the small board, and it's controlling the presets of the Line 6 M5. So as far as I'm concerned, you know, that's the most important sound it can make for me, and everything else is kind of like icing on the cake, if you like. Though I've noticed I've been using it quite extensively with the Eventide H9. In fact, if we take a listen, here's one, and you're going to hear a kind of a phased effect, a phaser effect, and that's the Line 6 M5. That's with the Line 6. If I turn that off, you get this. In fact, I'll turn off the Eventide H9 so you can hear just what the Line 6 M5 is doing there. Yeah, you hear that kind of phasey. Now with the Eventide H9. So if you loop that, you can get a really nice sound. And then you could add the bass, which is the Line 6 M5. Some other sounds that I use with the Line 6 M5 is right here on the synthesizer sound, guitar synth. Alright, now I'm not going to go through every sound that it can make, but definitely, besides the bass sound, which is essential for me, with the advantage of MIDI control as well. You know, I mean, I have some bass pedals and octave pedals and things, but they don't have MIDI control, so this is one advantage. Besides that, we have the phaser sound. You can see it's very, very clean, right? So it's not noisy or anything like that. Also has a built-in noise gate and tuner. And I mean, I can go through here and find, like here's a sound that I add an extra delay. It's basically a delay. Right. And this is what the M5 is doing. If I add both together, the M5 and the Eventide, you know, I get a pretty nice delay sound there. Kind of a tape delay type thing. Okay. And let me show you some more of those. Yeah, and here's just a different kind of delay. Take off the Eventide, here's just the M5. with the Eventide. Okay. Alright. It's a pretty big sound here. That's both Eventide and M5. If I take off the Eventide, I just get, here's what the M5 is providing. Kind of a delay. If I disable the M5, then it's just a plain. Alright, where's when I add the M5? So it's kind of a long delay, and then the Eventide, you get a huge sound when you mix them all together. Same kind of thing, just delay basically. And same thing, M5 would be so it's a real short delay. And then add the Eventide. Okay. Now real quick, I'll skip some of these because there's quite a few of them. Let me see if I can find. Yeah. Now here's something kind of interesting. Here's a, if you listen to the M5, it's providing just a distorted sound, right? That's from the M5, and if I add a Eventide, right? Without the Eventide. And there's tons of distorted sounds in the Line 6 M5. Everything from, you know, kind of a tube screamer, kind of bluesy type lead sounds, to all the way to metal, you know, real heavy, high gain type sounds. Here's just another delay kind of sound. Well, it's awfully loud though. Try a different one. listen, for the price and what you're getting, you know, it's really tremendous value in a way, and very, very useful, of course, you know, and I mean, it takes a little time to get used to it, definitely, and getting the, you know, programming the sounds that you want and things, and of course it's a lot of fun too. There's a lot of filters in there that give you some really neat guitar sounds, distortion sounds and things, you know. Yeah, there's just very, very nice. You know, there's certain things I wish it had, like a software editor would have been really nice. But overall, it's just a real bargain. I highly, highly recommend it because the sounds are really, really good. You know, a lot of times in multi-effects units, you know, they kind of skimp on the sounds and it just doesn't sound quite right. Here, that's not the case. The sounds are really, really usable. You know, and it has a true bypass if you want that. You know, and man, the sounds are just really great. In fact, I use this pedal all the time for bass sounds, bass emulation. Make it sound like a bass, right? And it emulates a pedal that does that. And the bonus being that because it's in the Line 6 M5, which has MIDI, right, I can control that via MIDI. And I looked up what that pedal costs, right? It's like 2 times what the Line 6 M5 costs. So that's pretty impressive. Not to mention, on top of that, you have a bunch of delays, choruses, flangers, and then some really weird sounds too. You know, if you use that kind of thing. Highly recommended, man. You know, especially for the price and the sounds that you get, you know. It covers quite a wide range, you know, as opposed to paying the same price for one pedal, you know, that does one sound, you know. So this is definitely worthwhile. And for all its shortcomings, you know, it's a lot less expensive than something like an Eventide H9, you know, which has some great sounds too. I just think that they're different than the Line 6 M5. You know, between the two, you got most bases covered. Alright, so that's something you may want to consider. Alright, very good. See you next time. Okay, bye.